What's going on, NBA fanatics? This is your friendly neighborhood Memphis Grizzlies homer, Memphis X, and I Talk Hoops. Last night, the good guys won. The series is tied 1-1, and we're going back to San Francisco. 5-point victory for the Grizzlies, and we're going to talk about it. But first, every hero needs their theme music.
Piano.
Grizz gang, go hard. Yeah. Baddest in the game, we be on one. I talk hoops, so secure. All up on the court, but we gon' score. Memphis bringing heat straight from Tennessee. Morant spiking, let's go.
Nigga Wood, they say they're from out of town or whatever, we don't give a fuck. The deal is done, now the cake been baked. They need to come on with the drama, whatever they gonna do. Other than that, fuck them. We ball.
Yes, sir. F them. We ball. Yes, the Grizzlies got out with a 106-101 victory versus the Golden State Warriors in Memphis, Tennessee last night. It was a very, very exciting game, very great game to watch if you watched it. But the game started out with some fireworks. 3 minutes into the game, we had another ejection, another flagrant 2 ejection. Dillon Brooks was ejected for a hard foul on Gary Payton II. Gary Payton II tried to break his fall with his arm and ended up fracturing his elbow. Now, I would not call it a dirty play. It's kind of 50-50 on people calling it a dirty play. I wouldn't call it a dirty play. I'd call it a hard foul. Now, it was a reckless play, but it wasn't dirty. I have a feeling that Dillon Brooks was going for the ball, and he just missed it. Dillon Brooks hadn't had a history of all the games I've watched of him doing dirty stuff to players, especially with them in the air and stuff like that in vulnerable positions. So I would give him the benefit of the doubt and say it was accidental, and it just so happened that Gary Payton ended up getting a serious injury off of it, and he's likely to miss the rest of the series. But, hey, I know you watched the game, but if you didn't, here's the play, and you can judge for yourself.
Crack the seal. Payton right down the middle. He's fouled hard. And Payton's in pain. He's grabbing the left arm. It was right at the end. Morant grabbed him initially, then Brooks got there late with the swipe, and he clubbed him on the side of the head.
And the awkward land.
Now, of course, Dillon was thrown out. And I would think that most likely it was a foregone conclusion after what happened with Draymond Green in Game 1 that he was going to be thrown out. But Steve Kerr took it a step further. Steve Kerr went on TV after the first quarter and just said it was a dirty play. Now, you don't see coaches do that much. And then he had the nerve to come in afterwards, after the game in the post-game press conference and talk about the code that Dillon broke. The code that Dillon broke. Now, this is a guy who spent his whole career coaching Draymond Green, and this man got the nerve to talk about some code regarding hard fouls.
Earlier today that you expected tonight to be the most physical game you played all year is what we saw in the first quarter, what you had in mind?
No, that wasn't physical. That was dirty.
That was intentional to try to hurt him.
I don't know if it was intentional, but it was dirty. And, playoff basketball it's supposed to be physical. Everybody's going to compete. Everybody's going to fight for everything. But there's a code in this league. There's a code that players follow where you never put a guy's season/career in jeopardy by taking somebody out in midair and clubbing him across the head and ultimately fracturing Gary's elbow. This is a guy who's been toiling the last 6 years trying to make it in this league. Finally found a home, just playing his butt off this year. In the playoffs, this should be the time of his life. And guy comes in whacks him across the head in midair. He broke the code. Dillon Brooks broke the code. That's how I see it.
So I don't know exactly what Kerr was rambling on about. You know, man, the code, and this was dirty play. And he's got a guy that's kicked multiple people in the nuts in playoff games, that's gouged multiple players' eyes, that's attacked players from behind, that's done all kind. This is the same guy, who's coaching Draymond Green, who actually tried to mush Mike Conley's face after he had a broken orbital bone and was wearing a mask. And in the first game, he tried to mush his face in a scramble and act like he didn't do anything. So I'm going to tell you like this. That's why the title of this video was Fuck 'em, We Ball. Because I don't give a damn about none of their crimes. I mean, none of the Warriors fan base. I don't want to hear them crying. Of all the stuff, the Zaza Pachulia, where they took out Kawhi Leonard for a whole playoff series. I don't want to hear none of their whining. In fact, cry more, Warriors fans. Cry more. I love it.
My God!
Yes! Yes! Oh, let me taste your tears, Scott. Your tears are so yummy and sweet. Dude, I think it might be best for us to never piss Cartman off again. Good call. Oh, the tears of unfathomable sadness. Yum.
Now, despite all this, we did have a basketball game. A great basketball game at that. Now, it wasn't the prettiest basketball at all the times, but it was a great basketball game. I mean, the game kind of went back and forth, you know. For the first time in a while, though, you could tell this game was on the right track because, why? The Grizzlies had a 30-point first quarter. Things were back to normal. A 30-point first quarter. Actually, it was 33 points. Yeah, they didn't break 30 no more in this game, but that just lets us know that they got off to a good start. It was kind of real frequent during the season, and it's been very infrequent in the playoffs. So a good start was something to hang our hat on. Now, when Dillon Brooks got thrown out, I believe the Grizzlies were up 8-0 at the time. That the flagrant foul was called, and that kind of stopped play, and, you know, the Warriors kind of got back in and hit a couple threes, and the game was pretty much nip and tuck from then on. I mean, nobody got out to a real big lead in this game. The game was nip and tuck. And somehow the Grizzlies found a way through Morant to steal this game in the end. Now, Morant played a wonderful game, but there were several heroes for the Grizzlies in this game. 3 I'm going to speak about. Well, 4 I'm going to speak about. First, we're going to talk about Zaire Tillman. Zaire Tillman played another 13 minutes. He was plus 13 in this time instead of minus 10, which he was last time. He was 3 or 4 from the field, 1 free throw, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 assist, only 1 turnover, 7 points. He was more up for it tonight. He played a great game in short minutes. Another hero whose box score does not look good. But if you watch the game, you know he made some pivotal plays, and that's why Brevin Knight gave him the name Mr. Do Something, because he just got up and did some things. He was 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 4 from three-point line, but he did have 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 3 blocks. He did have 4 turnovers, and he was a -2, only 3 points. But let me tell you something. He had 2 momentum-changing blocks in his game, blocked Steph Curry layups in this game. And it was at a time where the Warriors were kind of getting some momentum, and he changed that momentum. So welcome to the playoffs. DeAnthony Melton, the Grizz fans are glad you are here. Looking forward to you having even bigger games on the road. Another hero was the young bull, Zaire Williams, 5 of 9 from the field, 4 of 8 from three-point line, 5 big rebounds, and you know he doesn't really get in there and rebound, but he made an effort tonight. 1 assist, 14 points plus 8. Shot very well, including a movement 3, some stuff off catch and shoot. Had a putback dunk that was pivotal when the Grizzlies were struggling to get rebounds, especially offensive rebounds. A putback dunk for him. He did have 2 offensive rebounds. Zaire had a good game. His defense, well, we saw this developing all season. Coach Taylor Jenkins had no problems sticking Zaire Williams on the other team's best offensive player when he was starting for Dillon Brooks. He gave him the Dillon role. It's like he saw this time coming in the future and gave Zaire the Dillon role when he was starting for Dillon Brooks. So this wasn't the first time Zaire Williams had to check Steph Curry. He had done it in the season. And that's why Coach Jenkins should be the coach of the year. These are things that, you got to remember in some of those games, Zaire would get killed. He was playing against, I don't care, the other team's best scorer at point guard, shooting guard, small forward. They would stick Zaire Williams on him. So him and Ja had one blown switch where Steph Curry got open for a three-pointer. They put the Warriors up 4, I think. But other than that, his defense was pretty good, especially for a rookie. Pretty good. His length matters, especially on little guys. The fact that he's so thin and he can get through screens matters. But there's one thing and one person that we have to talk about with this game, Game 2, Ja Morant, who introduced himself to the NBA and the rest of the world as a true, bona fide superstar player.
Bodies fly. It's a 5-on-3. Oh, Morant! A jaw lift!
Now, Ja Morant's game last night was spectacular. Now, it's one of the few times when you look at the box score and the box score is crazy and the box score still doesn't do justice to how great the game was. 47 big points, 15 of 31 from the field, 5 of 12 from three-point line, 12 of 13 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, only 2 turnovers. It was a masterpiece. And I still think Ja has another gear left in him. And I remember thinking last night that Ja Morant had a 50-piece in him, and he almost got it. And the fact that the Grizzlies fell behind by 4 in the fourth quarter after leading the entire game, the Grizz fell behind by 4, and Ja Morant, just like he did against the Minnesota Timberwolves, took things in his own hands and outscored the Warriors down the stretch 15-6 by himself to give the Grizzlies a 5-point win. The dude was just phenomenal. There's nothing else you could say. There's not much else you could say about Ja Morant at this point. The play was phenomenal. That's why it was so shocking for Grizz fans when he missed that layup. You're just so used to him closing teams out. And I compare him to Chris Paul in this note that in a close game, he's hard to deal with. You can't get the ball out of his hand, and he's going to make shots. He's going to find the open player, and he's going to make very few mistakes. That's who Ja Morant is. There's 2 other guys that are like that, Chris Paul and Luka. Those are the guys that I see like that in the last 5 minutes, the last 4 minutes of a game, going down the stretch and it's a close game, you are in danger. Yes, you are in danger. So, Ja Morant, a superstar game, becomes the only third player other than LeBron and Kobe Bryant to have two 40-point games in the playoffs before the age of 23. That's the kind of company he's keeping. If you remember, him and Jaren were the first two teammates besides Durant and Westbrook. You get a theme here. Ja Morant is hanging out with the MVPs of the league. And unfortunately, Ja Morant did break his streak of 6 straight double-doubles. You know, he was the youngest to do that too, I believe. By only getting 8 rebounds and 8 assists. But hey, you can't blame him. He scored 47 points. He didn't have to pass the ball. Melton was rebounding. He didn't have to rebound. The team was rebounding. But the team is still getting out-rebounded by the Warriors, which is crazy. Now, we're going to do a full Game 3 preview, so I'm not going to really talk about it here. But please, like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell for notifications so you can be aware of when I do drop that Game 3 preview video. And also, coming up in this break, I'm going to do my big board for the Grizzlies, my top 47 big board for the Grizzlies. Because why? The Grizzlies have pick 47, and I'm going no further. Because I am a Grizz homer, and I make no bones about that. So, until the next video, I will see you guys later. Peace.